I'm going to try to do a video of a video that I took off an old flip cell phone. When we first bought the property, I kind of walked around the property and did a little video so I could remember what it looked like. So back in 2009, when we bought this, early 2009, there was nothing on this property. It was all dust and dirt, a couple avocado trees growing there, a couple citrus trees, and that was it. The soil, I don't know what you want to call it, was like dried gray clay. When it rained and you walked on it, it would build inches and inches on the bottom of your shoes, and you couldn't even pull it off with a stick, and it would just stick like glue, and you'd have to end up washing your shoes. As you can see, I'll probably swing it. Yeah, see, it was all dust. Nobody grew anything there. So originally I had no intentions of doing a garden. I wasn't planning on doing any gardening. I didn't have the time, and basically had a black thumb anyway, so I never really could do much with plants. Give me any animal, I could probably save it, but as far as plants, I was pretty much sending them to their grave right away. But as time went on, you know, I was going to make an herb garden. I have no idea why I think I was just looking at my spinner. I had just hung up a little turkey spinner up there. I had decided to build a little brick herb garden, and that was the only thing I was going to do. And see the front there, where my husband's digging there, I've got those 3 plastic wading pools I picked up from Walmart. So I use that like a container gardening. The front was all blacktop anyway, so there was no soil or dirt or anything there. Only dirt is what he dug out. But the back, there was no way to plant anything on the top. That's where, okay, that's on the bottom there, where my husband's got his new garden, where the sweet potatoes and banana plants are, and all kinds of greens and onions, and his purple ubi yams are growing, and everything, and yams, everything. He's growing everything down there. But anyways, in the front, it was all blacktop. So basically, I wasn't planning on doing anything with the front. And in the back part, which I'm hoping I'm swinging around here, which good I am, since I have no control of what I filmed back in 2009, this was just all dust. So I was going to lay bricks down and maybe a foot from the front there and just plant a little tiny long herb garden. And there was no fence. I don't know what those sticks were, but we did put a wire fence because my mother insisted on it, that when the family came over, she thought the kids were going to fall off the wall and drop 4 feet. That's what's behind the wall. So not 40, 4. But anyways, we put the fence up. But I had not planned on doing a garden. Now, like I said, I didn't have time. Give me an animal, I can do something with it. Give me plants, I'll kill it. But as time went on, I decided to start with container gardening because, I'll be honest, you go get soil and you go to the Home Depot, Lowe's, anywhere, it's expensive. And we just didn't have the money. So did a little bit of container gardening, and I was a little bit successful with that. And then lo and behold, 3 years ago, yep, he started with the wood chips. And this is where it's all wood chips now, and wood chips everywhere. And it changed our lives. I don't have to buy anything. We're growing everything with wood chips. And he got them like started 3 years ago, I guess now. And a lot of them have broke down. You just reach in, it's just black gold. But anyways, this is the long before 3 years, 3 years of gardening now, and we're still growing. And this is what it looked like before. It was all dead and dry. And that's exactly where my kitchen garden is. And yes, I know I don't have to tell you, it was a real fixer-upper. But that's all green now. This is amazing. This is where I've got my water fountains and my vegetables, more greens, more plants, more vegetables and food than we'll ever use. And this was just dust, literally horrible, horrible dust. And I have to share it with the rabbits, which is fine. I've got rabbits living in my garden, and that's fine. And now we've got the deer coming in. And then back to the front there, and that's the front part. Like, this is 2 acres, so this is a very little part. Now let's go to what it looks like now. And now, this is 2017, same part as the first film. Now keep in mind, we did not even start a garden until 3 years ago. See, these are my working tubs. Let me see if I can go through this quick, because you've already seen my garden. These are the swimming pools. This is where I said, this is all blacktop. This is a parking area. We don't use this parking area. So he's going to be putting more wood chips down. See, looks like soil now. And things are starting to grow in it. Mint is coming up in it. I've been very careful not to drop seeds in it. I really didn't want to start to grow in it. But I did have broccoli come up last year in it. But this was all blacktop. And that's where he was digging that pipe that broke that day. And then you come around this way and see, back then there was no wood chips. And there's more wood chips. And that's his garden down there that he's growing. And he's expanding that and getting that bigger and bigger. He's got bananas coming up now. Not coming up, he's got bananas. He had about 30, 40 apples, which the deer have come in and wiped out, so he's taking care of that. And then here's my kitchen garden. That's what I'm calling it. And this was, like I said, this was dead, dry, dusty, dirt, whatever you want to call it, soil. Nothing would grow here. You'd water it and it would just sit. It was horrible. And so I had no intentions of making a garden. What I was going to do was just put some bricks along there, the whole length, which we did, and just plant some herbs. But little by little, I started with pots. And then, of course, he covered the whole area with wood chips, which, I'll be honest, in the beginning, I didn't like it. I wasn't thrilled about wood chips. But boy, when I found out, you know, it'd rain and you'd walk out here and your shoes would just build like a snowball. You'd walk in the house and you'd have 3 inches of muck stuck to your shoes. More tubs. I like tubs. You know, let me finish with the wood chips. Sorry, I digress. Yeah, I found out once that he laid the wood chips, I didn't have that problem. I can go in and out of the house, and yes, we have wood chips on the carpeting. You vacuum it up, and it's gone. And I personally like tubs. People have asked why. I have a little bit more control, but I do both ways. I also put pots on top, so when I'm watering the pots, it automatically waters the tub. And a lot of times I don't even get to plant in the tub. I didn't plant this one up yet. You've got a UB coming up. The purple yam, that came up from the compost that was in here. Tomato came up from the compost. I'm not even sure what this is. It might be a tomatillo. I'm not sure. A lot of that comes up and then I leave it. That's weeds. Oh, there's a tomatillo under there, I think. I'm going to pull that up. We've got some animals that will eat that. Give it to them. And then I'll plant in there. My sister brought me this. She didn't want it. Upside down strawberry. I didn't want it. But you know what? It worked out good. It's sitting on a stump and I planted strawberries. There are pots in here. There are plants growing in the ground here. This is that, I guess it's a cabinet or something my husband found in the trash and he brought home about 4 months ago. And again, I didn't plant anything in here. I started composting and we're growing zucchini in here. I actually had zucchini out here for dinner. And again, here's another purple yam. This is the purple yam. It just came up out of the compost. We've got all kinds of squash. There's a tub back there. And a lot of stuff I don't even plant. This is mint growing all over the ground. Mint is growing everywhere. I let it grow. I make the best drink out of mint. That came out of the tower, went onto the ground, and it's growing everywhere now. Broccoli. I planted this broccoli when we laid the bricks out 3 years ago, roughly. It's probably been not quite 3 years. Planted them inside. I don't know if you can see it. And you know, they're 3 years old and I would just hate to pick them and throw them away because think of the nutrients they're bringing up since they have penetrated this hard soil that was here. Dirt, I call it, dust. And their roots are deep down. I'm going to leave them. I mean, they're growing broccoli right now. They already flowered and they went back to starting to grow broccoli. There's a few of those. See See my strawberries? I'm going to pick those and I'm going to make some strawberry banana ice cream today. See, there's the bricks that was the only thing I was going to do here is lay those bricks all the way across. That's also broccoli. See the size of those trunks? Look at the size of that. That's broccoli. It's a broccoli bush. And that's fine with me, so we can keep going. Old container I had, I threw some mint in there. It's oregano growing here, and walking onions, and collard. The 99-cent store had a tray of collard once for 99 cents. And I got collard all over. Do I sound happy? I don't like collard. He likes collard. I'm still working on this. Some of this, I'm just moving things around, but there's peppers in here. My lettuce went to seed. I don't really want to do a garden tour because you've all seen it, moving real dirt around. This has been dug up places. There's zucchini there. Watermelon came up here. We'll see what happens. I put a couple watermelon seeds in there for fun. Bought those. Oh, what a great deal. My daughter called me. Get to Walmart now. They're clearing out those upside down things, these planters. I believe they were $2.50, and they had them marked originally $60. These are the real heavy duty ones. Yes, we bought them all, and I love them. My goodness, I'll tell you something, if you put them in a good area, remember your whole property is microclimates. Put them in the right area, and you can start almost any seed in them. It's unbelievable. That's what I use it for. But yes, I like containers. I had to keep that covered there. And there, I'm not sure, it might be rocket and it might be mustard coming up. But I do have rabbits living now in my garden. So I got to cover some stuff that they'll eat. But this is what's in the film footage that I just showed you, just saw in the beginning. There was nothing here. It was hard, packed down dust. That's all it was dust. So, yes, I started with containers, and then back here, I believe that's in the film footage too. Oh, I do not like those beetles that fly around. I probably will end up making rows at some point, and maybe under the pepper tree. Maybe I'll get some lettuce growing there, but this is it. So you see the before and after, and no, it didn't take me all these years because we decided to do a garden about 3 years ago. We started all this. Here's the papayas. Again, they are in containers, but they're growing out of their containers. And they seem to be doing much better that way. We have, what do I have here? I planted 3 papayas. To be honest, I'll tell you something. I did not plant these papayas. The papayas that are growing here, and see there's papayas on here this year, I didn't plant them. I compost in place, and they came up. I had other things growing. As you can see, there's lettuce growing. I had other things growing a couple years ago, and then all of a sudden these little plants came up. My husband said, "Oh, you're growing papayas." I believe these 2 are different types because he buys strawberry papayas and some other papaya. So I left them, and they grew, and so now the papayas are growing. This is all celery. As I told Little Bean, this is a weed. See this celery? This is seed, and it's very fine, and that seed is going to go down the hill. It's going to grow everywhere. They're going to be in everything I grow, and I'm forever trying, to pick it. That's celery down there in the brick. It's not even in the brick. It's in the wood chips growing. Here's a little moringa tree growing. I did put the seed there. The rabbit came and ate the top off. I don't know if you can see it. Rabbit came and ate the top off. I left the basket on, and in 3 days it grew back. It's unbelievable. I've got some more growing here, moringa. Oh, that's right. I wanted to uncover it this morning. And the reason I had to keep it covered in here, see how nice, is the snails. And I'll just throw that there for now. I don't think I need it covered anymore. There's a cucumber in there, and then 2 moringa trees. And there is no bottom on this. It is filled with compost, wood chips, broken down wood chips. So if it wants to grow in there, it can grow. See how far it goes. I've got other places I'm planting these moringa trees, so we'll see. But you've got a combination of tubs and pots, and then I've got celery growing on the ground. I've got garlic, chives growing in the ground. So, and I'm working all the time. But anyways, this is the after, and I don't think it's finished because I'm going to keep moving things around and changing different things. And here is my solar pump. Let's see if I can get this thing to work because the sun is not really out yet. Going to turn it. Yes, there it goes. Very sensitive, the solar powered pumps. So I've got to make sure it's facing the sun, which is fine. I'm home all the time. So I'll turn it. This will run all afternoon. And I'll return it in the morning. Can you believe that bird just landed in front of me? Literally 3 feet from me. But they do this all day. And I'm going to say something real quick before I end this. I want to keep this short. When we started our gardens 3 years ago, I was disgusted. I didn't want to garden. I have so many other projects and things to do and work, and a lot of people don't know who I am, so they don't know what I do. And I'm busy all the time. Literally, I barely get any sleep. And thank goodness I can do well that way. I can stay up all night and work if I had to, and I'm fine the next day. My husband will be sick. I started gardening, and I was battling tomato hornworms on everything. Come out here, I don't even like them. They were just all over. It was hundreds of them. And I told my husband, I am done. I am not going to do a garden. I can't do a garden. I can't keep anything alive. He'd come out here, he went and got his purple light, and at night he'd be picking hornworms off, and he'd be doing, oh, look at these bugs. My husband said, they're good. They break down wood chips. I don't know. I don't like the looks of them. But anyways, going back to the hornworms, I was done. I just told him I cannot deal with this. I don't have the time, and it's aggravating. I mean, I had so many hornworms. Not only were they eating the plants, they were eating the tomatoes. I would think they're gone, and I would come out here and the tomatoes would be eaten, literally. But now that we brought in the water, this was the first one I bought. I bought that 2 years ago. I went with my sister to a beach show on my birthday in June, and I walked into this thrift store, and the guy was dragging it out of his truck that owns the thrift store, and I said, I want it. He said, I don't even know if it works. I said, that's fine. It worked. I knew my husband could fix it. He can fix anything. And that was the start of it. And then the same thrift store, this has been about a year, they brought this one in, and this is even bigger, and they sold that one to me for like 20 bucks. And I bought that one. This one's new. I got to turn the solar pump on that one. I'm going to put an electric pump, I think, on that. But then I bought the Angel, and then I found the solar things. But besides that, it was just these two. It's really changed my life. Obviously, the birds eat tomato hornworms when they're little, because there has not been one. Now, I'm not going to say we won't have, because we will end up finding a few that will survive, but there has not been one hornworm this year, and last year with all the birds, I believe we found 3 that kind of the birds missed. I just can't see ever being without water again, because I have so many tomatoes growing everywhere. And it was just tomato hornworms, and then the I don't know what the green ones are called that eat the different cabbage and collard, and aphis. Oh, everything was covered in aphis, and I just couldn't deal with it. I didn't want to spray, and I didn't know what to do. And then we got the organic spray. Let me tell you something, that doesn't work. Out here it's soap and water. The birds changed it. The birds completely changed it. So if you can bring in birds, they may eat a few things. You'll look around. I don't see anything right here. I was going to show you a caterpillar, but oh, maybe the birds ate him. I had a butterfly caterpillar here the other day. Oh, you know what? I could show you this. Let's see if it's still here. Okay. Oh, there it is. See? I don't know if you can see that. That's a praying mantis case. And we've got praying mantis now. I did not put them here. They just started producing. They're all over the place. You find the little cases that they lay their eggs in. But if you can bring in birds, yes, they will eat some of your garden, but so what? There's so much food here. I can't believe how much goes to compost, how much goes to waste. They are the greatest things. They've changed my life. I went from not wanting to do a garden to always trying to think of different things to do and set up. And their birds are everywhere. Hummingbirds, and they eat little bugs too, the hummingbirds. And then of course all the goldfinches, hundreds and hundreds of goldfinches. Birds, wrens, they're nesting all over the place. My husband put nests up. So birds are really great. They will come in and they teach their babies that, look, Swiss chard tastes good. They'll sit there on the Swiss chard and poke little holes in it. So you'll find Swiss chard and collard. They'll sit on the collard, even those big old collard plants down there. And they'll eat holes in the leaves. But so what? No big deal. You know what they do? They can eat anything they want. It's fine with me. So that's the after. And I just wanted to show you before and after. And again, keep in mind, this is maybe 3 years, because that's when he started the wood chips, about 3 years ago. And it's all that stuff down there that started that. First, he was bringing it in by his little pickup truck until he started making friends with all kinds of people. He would follow the electric company around. They bring in trucks to trim the trees around the power lines. And he went to them and he asked them, you know, you're shredding all the power lines here. What are you doing with it? And they said, we got to take it to the dump. He goes, no, don't take it to the dump. Bring it to my house. And they did. And they did. And they did. There were times that we weren't home. They couldn't get on the property because of the dogs and the gates all locked. They dumped it out front. Yeah. So we were getting that until he stopped that. And then he's got somebody else that brings it now. He doesn't need any more from them. But it was nice. I mean, he was happy with it. But now we can actually be a little selective, which is nice. They'll call and tell him what kind of trees. They've even brought him wood, and we've chopped that up, and we're using it for firewood. They'll call him and say, hey, we got a truckload of, and this is no joke when they say a truck. It'll last us for years. Truckload of ash. Do you want it? It's great. And they'll drop it down. He splits it. So somebody had mentioned on my other video from New Zealand, they had said that they called pricing it. Don't call and price wood chips. You call your tree trimming company as close as you can to your house. Find out if they've got a shredder. When they go trim trees, do they shred the trees? And if they say yes, ask them what they do with the scraps from the trees. Don't even make it out like you really want it. Kind of make it like you're doing them a favor. And if they say, oh yeah, we shred it, and when the truck is full, we take it to the dump, tell them to dump it at your place. The big catch is, you need to take the truckload. They can't just come and dump half a truck. And we're talking major trucks. So if you've got the place to do it or know where you can do it, that's what they want. Because when they go to the dump, at least in California, it could be $100 for them to dump it. So they are more than happy to bring it to you. And do it that way. You know, don't be overexcited. Just kind of tell them, hey, I'll take it off your hands. But you do have to have a place to dump it, because we're talking major truckload. Some places, LA's got a place where you can go, I believe, downtown LA, and they dump their own wood chips from probably the trimmings they do, and you're allowed to go with your own truck and pick up what you want. But if you can really get a whole truckload, that's the way to go. Some companies, I have heard that if you pay them to drop it off, because, you know, gas, it depends on how far they are. They want their gas money. It might be worth it. If they figure out, hey, we'll take $50. Well, it's going to cost $50 in gas, or we could just drop it close by. Give them the $50. See what they want. But call around, because you've got the electric company too. They have to mandatorily, they've got to trim those trees that go through their wires. And so they hire companies, and they too will be more than happy to dump the wood chips on your property if you want it. But you got to kind of chase him down. My husband, it was so funny. He'd be here at the house, and all of a sudden he'd hear, I hear him. He could hear them miles away. They're chipping wood, and he'd take off in his truck and run down and find them and get them to come dump wood chips. So he was getting wood chips from everywhere. But that's it. So see if you can get a pond if you have insect problems. and bring in the birds. And yes, I do put out some feeders a little bit. I even put some seed out. There's nothing really in there. They ate everything. I've got enough bird seed around here that I can give them a little bit. And don't worry about the birds. What are they going to do? Peck out a few things? Here they like my collard and they like my Swiss chard, and they eat that. The rabbits eat the bottom of the leaves. What we're having problems with now is we did not know that deer are coming in, and they're actually eating the tops of the plant. So I'm having a little bit of a deer problem. But a simple fence like we put around here, they don't really want to go over it. And so now my husband's putting fences around all his apple trees after losing 40 apples. He's worried about his banana trees too. So he's going to fence those in. Not that they can reach the bananas, but what they might end up doing is eating around the trunk. He doesn't know. We don't know what they'll do. We have never had deer. You know, I've lived here for so long, and we saw one deer go up the mountain once, and now they come down and you see them sitting there and they're waiting for us to leave, and we didn't know that they were coming to our garden. So the deer are coming out of the wildlife reserve here, and they found their garden. Well, that's it. I think I made this too long again. Sorry, I try to do it short. But any questions, go ahead and I'll answer as soon as I see them. If you don't hear from me, it's because, no joke, I work 24 hours a day, and I try to answer what I can. So have a great day, and please don't forget to eat what you grow.